there was a man, one of the great Tzadikim and holy people of the last generation. His name was Rav Sternhartz. His picture is up there. And he was the teacher of Gedalia Koenig and Rav Shmuel Shapiro. He was probably the leading Breslov chassid of his day. And he was also the great-grandson of Reb Nosson, who was the closest student to Rabbi Nachman. And they tell in Russia he was the rabbi of a city called Kremnichug, which is a rather large city. And it happened that at one time the head of the congregation came to visit him, and this person is very upset, and he says, Rabbi Avraham, you know what's going on? There's a coach with 5 Russian soldiers, and they have chained to the coach 2 Jews, and they've parked themselves in the center of the city, and they're saying that if the Jews of the city don't raise, let's say, 20,000 rubles by nightfall, they're going to slaughter these 2 Jews in public. What should we do? So Rav Avraham says, well, it's a mitzvah pidyon shvuyim. You have to redeem the captives. It's a big mitzvah. All right. He gets up. He goes with the head of the congregation. He goes to the wealthiest man in town. Tells him the story. The man says, well, how much do you suggest that I give? So they tell him, you should probably give like 2,500 rubles at least. The man says, that's all? I think I'll give 5,000. Okay, fine. They go to the next wealthy man. How much should I give? Like 1,500 rubles. 1,500, that's all. I'll give 3,000. Everybody they go to is just so anxious to do this mitzvah that whatever you ask him for, he gives double. And in no time at all, they had 20,000 rubles. Rav Avraham is standing there, and he says to the head of the congregation, he says, listen, just do what I tell you. Go and return all the money. And go to the yeshiva and get 10 of the strongest bocharim there, 20 of the strongest yeshiva guys, have them come to my house. And then when they come, I'm going to tell them that they should approach this coach with these 5 Russian soldiers and beat the hell out of them and free the Jews captives. So the head of the congregation says, well, that's a great idea, but they belong to a whole battalion which is stationed not too far from our city. I mean, if we beat up on these guys, or if we kill them, or we do any harm to them, you're going to have a pogrom here. They're going to get the rest of the battalion to come onto the city. Rabbi Avraham says, don't worry about it. Just tell the people to do what I said. So now the head of the congregation goes and he returns the money, and he calls a meeting of the heads of the town, and he says, listen, I maybe Rabbi Avraham wouldn't like this, but this is the story, and we got the money, and he told me to return it, and I did, and now he wants the yeshiva guys to come and beat up these fellas and release the captives. That's I don't know. You guys agree that this is a good thing to do. We're likely to bring down a whole battalion on the Jewish community here. So they thought about it for a while, and they said, Rabbi Avraham is a very, very holy man. He never misled us so far. Let's just listen to him. So comes evening, 10 very strong yeshiva guys approach these 5 Russians, beat the heck out of them, free the Jews. Meanwhile, as they're beating up the Russians are screaming, you Jews, you're behind everything. We were just on vacation, riding to a nice, good place in the country. We were stopped by these 2 Jews, and they said, would you like to split 20,000 rubles? What you need to do is chain us to you. Okay? So they threw them all out of town. They went back to Rav Avraham, and they said, how could you possibly know such a thing? You have Ruach HaKodesh, you have prophecy. He said, no, I don't have prophecy. My father wasn't a prophet. He says, but I have a tradition from my teachers. Nothing good goes easy. When we went to those people asking for money, not only didn't they give us a hard time, they gave us twice what we were asking. Already I knew this, I don't know why, but this is not a mitzvah. So nothing good goes easy, okay?